For a while at the beginning, I was feeling very anxious, very guilty. I don't like to admit this, but I began to notice that this project was taking a toll on my mental health. And I said, guys, I don't know if I can continue to do this. It's been 1 year since I posted my very first video to YouTube.
I was a victim of parental alienation for 20 years before I figured it out.
Parental alienation is the act of one parent turning a child against their other parent via brainwashing or manipulation, without reasonable justification. After my parents' divorce, I was made to believe that I had one good parent and one bad parent. That's not normal. But this is not a victim story, because I'm not a victim anymore. My dad and I are some of the lucky ones. I learned the truth and we've become close again. I share my experience as a cautionary tale. I want people to know this can happen because it did happen to me and many other survivors that I've met. That being said, losing my dad, who was my very best friend until that point, created a line in the sand for me. From that point, there was before and there was after. Age 9 was a disaster. I began to feel a moral obligation to speak out about the severe child psychological abuse that I've went through. I don't think many adult children have actually come out and spoken out about how they figured it out. And keep one word in your mind when you're thinking about this, it's control. They will more than likely enlist others to help them assassinate your character to your child. I think a lot of these kids out there need to be separated from their pathological parent. Maybe you think, hell no, this is not my story. Or maybe you are scared that it is. You know it's true, you don't know it's not. You know that something's off. In my earliest memories, Dad was really fun. He loved me. Man, I really loved him. When I first started posting videos, I hit the ground running. I've actually made goals for myself every week. One of my goals was to post at least 2 to 3 videos a week. I, for the most part, have kept that up. I've posted a ridiculous amount of videos, given that this is just a passion project for me and I am a full-time stay-at-home mom to 2 little girls. I started speaking out and it seemed like I was not able to stop. He was like holding my hand. He was like, Maddie, you don't know that I love you? And I said, no, Dad, I thought you never loved me. I would never let you close to me because you were gonna hurt me. After reuniting, reconnecting with my dad, he showed me the little letter that I wrote him that he kept all that time at his office desk, and he would look at it every day. He had no idea, but the whole time I had kept this letter where I knew it would be safe for 20 years. So we had both been holding on to mementos for 2 decades. Who questions their mom when she says that one day you're gonna write a best-selling book called A Hole in Your Heart about why your dad doesn't love you? I believed everything she said because surely my mom wouldn't make things like that up. I was shocked that no one else was doing this. I felt a moral obligation to wake up other people who were still alienated from a parent. Learning the truth for me and being able to get away from my abuser has been the ticket to me being able to heal and create a wonderful life for myself. While I was hitting the ground running, what you probably don't know, because I haven't shared, is that quite frequently, for a while at the beginning, I was feeling very anxious, feeling very guilty. Honestly, for the first few months, there were several times when I wanted to delete all of my videos, delete my whole project, and just move on with my life. I felt anxious, wondering what my friends and family members would think. I felt very guilty for putting my mom in a negative light, even though she had mistreated me for so long. I guess I have been conditioned. There were several times where I wanted to take my videos down, and I began to realize why people don't speak out, because there are ramifications that come with that. While I was posting videos frequently, I also had a lot of emotions to work through myself, and although most people in the comments and emails and everything were so supportive and still are, because of that guilt, I really struggled at the beginning for the first few months. And even now, sometimes I will have days where I want to delete everything. It's a cancer. Just as you would add one single drop of food coloring to a glass of pure water, it's tainted in the same way. That child's beliefs about themselves in the world, that child's self-esteem, that child's outlook on life, many other things have been tampered with, have been destroyed. They derive pleasure from watching their child hate their other parent. I remember shaking in shock, in disbelief, typing into the computer, one parent turning their child against the other parent. I couldn't look away from the video. I was entranced, but more so horrified. My own life experience and the misery I had lived through was being described by this random man on the internet in his own words. How could we have the same exact struggles, the same exact experiences, right? It's manufactured, it's fabricated, it's all of this drama, pain, trauma, heartache that is contrived in order to hurt other people. Even if you did have a bad, terrible parent, the healthy, loving parent would not enforce this. In fact, they would try to protect you from knowing the bad things the parent has done. They would protect you from feeling unloved. After a few months, though, I began to define my goals. I bought a microphone, I tried to improve my editing skills and my thumbnails. I started a support group for former alienated children on Facebook. I received so much encouragement from targeted parents. Thank you to everybody out there listening. And I began working towards my goals. I have a lot of goals when it comes to outreach and educational efforts. I want to really hit high schools and college campuses hard, because people need to figure out they've been alienated before they look for their life partner and start to form their own families. Support groups could eventually even therapeutic retreats. I try to work together, band together. I know that there's power in numbers. If we come together, I think that our voices can be amplified. I believe the reason why I was able to keep going and not give up all of those times is because I began to meet other survivors who had very similar stories and very similar effects on their lives too.
You were a kid, so what could you have done, but also you feel guilty for not seeing it or not figuring it out sooner, or what could I have done differently? You question everything all the time. Damage is so deep and it affects so many different parts of your life.
I was very guarded at first. I had been told for such a long time that this woman was crazy. There was that little voice in the back of my head that was telling me, this person's not safe, you're not safe, what are you doing? And I fought that voice for such a long time because I was like, her actions are saying that she's safe, but everything in my brain is telling me that she's not.
Yeah.
I speak out because of two reasons. One, I think it's the right thing to do. You know, if somebody needs a glass of water and they're thirsty, you give them a glass of water. It's the right thing to do. And the other reason is I can at least do some kind of good for other parents or grandparents, siblings, what have you.
I want to be what I wish I had when I found out or when I was younger.
The reason I do this is because I feel like the first step of bringing social change is making awareness, talking about it openly, even just speaking for ourselves and having a voice.
I speak up for myself because I feel like I held my truth in for so long, but also to support alienated parents in reaching out to their kids.
And the reason why I do this work is because I do not want any other children in the world to ever go through what we went through, and I see it all day long at work. I read about it, I research it. It is absolutely true, and it's rife.
The loss was instantly felt. As soon as I was taken away, put on a houseboat for a week, waiting till the investigation died down because the FBI was involved looking for me. That world dissolved as the plane flew further and further away. So I knew instantly that something happened. So I was still only 4. I didn't realize how final it was. Wanting my dad to come and rescue me was a lot of my thoughts, crying myself to sleep at night. I just wanted him to come and rescue me from this world that was like the Twilight Zone and violent.
From the start, I've been amazed at the amount of people who have supported my mission, as well as the incredible need for former alienated children to have support and resources. With the support of my friends, I continued to pump out videos week after week. I stopped watching TV. I stopped browsing the internet. I began to treat this passion project of mine like a part-time job. I wouldn't be able to do any of this, by the way, without the amazing support of my husband. I was just so passionate, so many video ideas coming to me all the time. I began to write my videos out, script them while I was running on the treadmill or doing exercise on the bike. So I would combine two activities so that I could get more done. It really started to take over my life. My efforts were paying off. People were listening. People still are listening, and that's awesome. I can't even believe it sometimes. People began to comment and email me saying that they had realized that they were alienated from my videos. I was achieving my goal. I think I still am. In November, we had our first college campaign at the University of Utah, and it was great. It was even more successful than I had hoped for. Although I will admit, at first, approaching strangers, talking to strangers, trying to educate the general public, I was a ball of nerves. The night before that campaign, I hardly slept, and I totally screwed up the first interview that I had. It's easy for me to talk in front of my camera right now, but it was very scary for me to talk in public to strangers. At first, these college campaigns sent me into an anxious tailspin, but I did it. It was really rewarding, really impactful, and really empowering for me, and I think our whole team now. Really impactful moment today happened at our campaign. There was a woman who's walking towards the table, and I could tell she was really taken by our sign, and she was interested. I said, "Could I please ask you a few questions about parenting?" And she said, "Oh, no, thank you." And she came a little closer though, and she said, "I'm sure that's what happened to my daughter. I'm sure that's what my ex-husband did to my daughter." And she didn't want to be interviewed on camera. I said, well, just come here and I'll give you some resources. So I gave her some papers and flyers and the card that has my YouTube on it. And she didn't even know the term parental alienation, but she told me my daughter overdosed. She killed herself. She looked at me and she said, "This is really important work you're doing. Thank you for doing this." I told her, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Suicide is really common for alienated kids." She said, "I bet your dad is really, really happy to have you back." On top of the college campaigns that had begun, and on top of getting the fundraising to get going, I was also interviewing a lot of people. Not just alienated kids, but experts, targeted parents, lawmakers, filmmakers. I was interviewing a lot of people. And I don't have a personal assistant. I don't have an editor. I do everything when it comes to YouTube, the editing, the filming, the scripting, and everything like that. So I was interviewing a lot of people, and I was enjoying the process of connecting with people and hearing their stories and learning more about all the issues related to this child psychological abuse that I've been through. But at the same time, I was hearing all of this really dark, heavy, and traumatic stuff during each interview. And then I was having to re-listen to it several times during the editing process. And I found myself starting to be affected emotionally and mentally. Not just because of the interviews, but also because of the time that I had been putting into my project, because of the goals that I had given myself, which I think have been really ambitious. I don't like to admit this, but I began to notice that this project was taking a toll on my mental health. I think it was the focusing on this painful, traumatic subject matter that's so personal to me, focusing on it so much that was really getting to me. That scared me a lot. Focusing on parental alienation day in and day out, while also trying to heal and focus on my kids and my husband and my current life, it started to become difficult around Christmas time, I would say, of last year. And I was really trying to do this juggling act and trying to put boundaries in place and figure out how to manage my time. And I wanted to continue the Anti-Alienation Project, but I could not and would not sacrifice my mental health to do it. Before the California campaign in February, I remember calling Bree, who's my good friend and she's on our team. I was pretty distressed. I was driving home and I called her and I told her, "I don't think I can continue this project." I remember I said, "Bree, the Anti-Alienation Project I know needs to exist We need more resources for adult children of parental alienation. We need more awareness in society. And I explained to her the conundrum I was facing. I said quite clearly that I was willing to do anything to heal. I was willing to sacrifice the relationship with my mom in order to heal. I was willing to pick up and move all the way across the country in order to get away from my toxic family of origin and heal. I was and still am willing to do intensive therapy and dive into the deep work of healing myself and facing my trauma head first. And I told Bree, I didn't work this hard. I didn't sacrifice so much, just shoot myself in the foot by trying to help other people if it's going to bring my mental health back down. I told her that focusing on this stuff so much was making my mental health suffer. I put it in pretty clear terms for her and Jacqueline. And I said, guys, I don't know if I can continue to do this. They were very supportive, and they did both agree that they wanted the Anti-Alienation Project to continue and that they would help that happen. I took a break, and all of this has been happening behind the scenes, so you probably didn't even notice that I took a break. We had the Colorado campaign in April on the horizon. I had already started to work with Dr. Harmon, planning it. After I got some space from the project and the filming and the editing and the interacting with people and getting some space away from parental alienation, what really put things in perspective for me is when she asked me, Maddie, why did you continue to do this whole time? What makes you happy about this in the first place? What part of this project brings you joy? And I just said right away, it's you guys. It's my friends. It's you guys. You guys are the reason why I'm happy I'm doing this. It's just you guys. So we already had the Colorado campaign coming up in April. I was working with Dr. Harmon on putting together that panel discussion and a college campus campaign. I knew that I would have the opportunity to possibly meet some of my friends in real life in Colorado. And honestly, I didn't know what the future would look like after the Colorado campaign, but I did know that I wanted to meet my friends. So I stuck it out. In my head, I told myself, okay, we're going to push through to Colorado. I'm going to do the Colorado campaign. Then after that, no matter what happens, I think I've made an impact in this community. Even if I end now, I think I've made an impact. I hope I've made an impact. As the time got closer and closer to the Colorado campaign, we started to talk more and more as a group. I started to build these friendships with these ladies. I started to plan out our trip in Colorado and get excited about meeting them, while I was still trying to figure out the future of the Anti-Alienation Project and how that would fit with me while still preserving my mental health. Everything changed for me when we met in Colorado in real life. I can't quite describe to you the profound healing, joy, and connection that I felt and that I found with these amazing women. Just landed in the airport, about to go find Jacqueline and Bree because their flight came in earlier. I'm really nervous actually, but here we go. Jacqueline and Bree are here! Dawn's here! Ready to rock and roll! Hang loose. Meeting each other, just hanging out, sharing our experiences, laughing, crying, empowering each other, speaking out in public together. That's never been done before. Doing the college campaign, having fun together. It was incredible. And it was that weekend with these ladies in Colorado that changed everything for me. I don't know if it was hearing their stories and feeling their pain, relating to that same pain and wishing that none of us had to go through that. I don't know if it was doing the panel discussion, speaking out at Colorado State University and just looking around at these women and feeling so proud and honored to sit beside them. It could have been just sitting by the bonfire and laughing and nearly peeing our pants of laughter listening to Chantel's birth story. It might have even just been a feeling of actually being understood and heard and appreciated by people who truly get it. It was so wonderful to feel understood. Unbelievable weekend. And these friendships are why I'm still doing this. After the Colorado campaign, I did realize that perhaps my college campaign goals were a bit too ambitious. I had said originally that I wanted to do one campaign a month, but all of us are doing this on a volunteer basis, and this is just a passion project for everyone. Plus, most of us have little kids, so it's just impossible for us to do once a month. But we are definitely still doing college campaigns, and it's just going to be as we can afford to do them, as we have time to do them. But I got home from that campaign in Colorado, and I just knew that what I had experienced was going to change my life. Probably had already changed my life. I think most alienated kids grow up feeling like there's a degree or maybe 100 degrees of separation between them and the whole world. Being with these ladies who've been through the same abuse that I have, it was like those degrees of separation had vanished. I'm just so grateful, so incredibly grateful, because 2 years ago when I figured all this stuff out, I could have never imagined that I would be sitting here now. I never thought that I would be talking about it publicly, for one, but then also the fact that I was able to put on these events and create this group and meet these awesome women, it's like blessings on blessings. So I got home from the Colorado campaign with a new fire in me, a new drive to continue. I also had some realizations that I needed to cut back on the amount of interviews I do. Since then, we've been working on a whole lot of stuff behind the scenes that is even more exciting to me than anything that we've shared publicly to date. And I can't wait until we can finally announce all of these upcoming projects and goals and events. It's gonna be awesome. I wouldn't be doing it without these women, these good friends of mine now, which just goes to show how important community is. So it's a year later, and I almost have 1 million views on YouTube. I think I have about 10,000 subscribers and probably over 300 videos now. Yeah, 349. And those feelings that I was describing when I first started my project, they come up every once in a while, but it doesn't take long for me to be able to realize that I am helping people. I am meeting the goals that I set out to achieve here. I have support. There are a lot of people who believe in this mission. This is a lot bigger than me. I've known that since the start. This is a huge worldwide societal epidemic. It's a pathogen that can easily destroy an entire family unit. And I hope I've helped some people along the way by sharing it with you. And with this awesome team by my side, I'm looking forward to year 2. I've come to realize that people are going to say what they want to say. People are going to think what they want to think. The people that matter to me in my life know why I'm doing this. And this project has helped me heal too. I've taken back my life. I've taken back my power, my voice. I haven't made mistakes. Yeah. Will I make mistakes in the future? Yeah. But I know this is a cause worth fighting for.
The Anti-Alienation Project.